What's up guys, it's Pliskin here, and I've noticed that for all the attention that Far Cry 2 has gained on the platform, being YouTube, in terms of appreciation for its innovative, stylized choices, I've noticed there aren't a lot of gun lists for it. In fact, I haven't really seen any. So, with that being said, I'm here to fill that void. This is Pliskin. Welcome to Top 5 Far Cry 2 Weapons. Now, if you watched my top 10 gun list for Far Cry 3 and 4, you'll know that I focused on damage, on stealth, on range, and all these things. I can't use that same criteria here, because Far Cry 2 is in a sense a survival game. Whereas Far Cry 3 and 4 gives you a lot of power to do things the way you want to do them, Far Cry 2 is obsessed with taking that power away from you. Therefore, the criteria I'm using for this video will mostly revolve around the guns that just generally tend to keep you alive and out of danger. Also, a quick note, I'm rating these guns based on their performance within the game's infamous difficulty. The first gun to be featured on this list is going to be the M79 grenade launcher. Far Cry 2 is killer when it comes to traveling on the roads, as vehicles can mow you down with relative ease, so an explosive is mandatory. However, you only have 3 slots, and seeing as though the slot that the M79 occupies, the sidearm slot, is filled with weapons that won't really do you much in these scenarios, you'd be wise to slip in an M79 into your loadout, just so that when you travel by road, you don't have to be that scared of vehicles coming your way. Just be careful not to shoot it when vehicles are too close to you. Coming in at number 4 is the only assault rifle I'd say is worth your time. Now, the G3 doesn't do enough damage, the AK does decent amounts of damage, but you still have to get too close to your enemies. Same thing with the FAL. So the M16 is really the only plausible choice, as that sight on it gives you the ability to keep distance from guys who are going to be shooting at you. And on infamous difficulty in Far Cry 2, if you have more than one enemy surrounding you and you're close to them, you tend to be screwed. So with an M16, you choose the distance. It gives you just that little bit of power that you really need. Also, you'll still find ammo for it, because every time you walk over any type of assault rifle, you're going to get stocked just that much more. So it's a practical weapon to keep on you, as the game will replenish you periodically. Not to mention that the M16's burst mechanic, 1, makes it easier to conserve ammo, and 2, makes it a lot easier to control the obnoxious amounts of recoil that are present in almost all the guns in Far Cry 2. So, you have a decent range. You can still use it at close range by spamming the burst mechanic. It does higher damage than early game weapons. The game gives you enough ammo that's easy enough to conserve. All in all, this is a very versatile weapon. Still, I think objectively, the M16 is your best choice for assault rifles, just because of the amount of control and options it gives you when approaching different combat scenarios. And in a game like Far Cry 2, I think you need all the control you can get. Coming in at number 3, we're going to have the Milkcore grenade launcher. This thing is a beast. Think about those perks with the M79, except add that together with the range and control of the M16. You get crazy amounts of damage, you can clear entire outposts if you're careful, you make your shots count, vehicles aren't going to stop you, sniper nests aren't going to stop you, groups of enemies aren't going to stop you. Literally the only thing holding this weapon back is the fact that you can't use it at closer ranges without damaging yourself. Still, this is a perfect tool to clear out an outpost, clear the roads, or thin out enemy numbers before you start thinking about charging in. At number 2, we're going to have the completely silent bolt-action dart gun. Let me make it extremely clear. The only reason this isn't number 1 is because you can't carry more ammo. However, those 3 shots you're able to carry with this gun are the most, honestly, the best type of projectile in the game. They're completely silent, are a one-shot kill no matter where you hit the enemy, And you can shoot them from far range, close range, it doesn't matter. As long as you have the time to aim, you can assure a solid kill. Now this gun is great because if you're about to enter a base or an outpost, you can tactically clear out enemies you think are going to give you a problem if you're taking the stealthy approach. So take out the sniper in the nest, take out the guy who's standing by like the heavy MG if you're planning to go loud, take out the guy standing by the vehicle. This gun is literally your equalizer with the environment. As I'm sure you just saw, like you could use this even when you're in the heat of combat. As long as you can take cover, aim and shoot, this is like the ultimate weapon. Again, the only reason it's not number 1 is because of that ammo limitation. If you were able to even carry 10 rounds of this stuff, it would completely break the game. Still, anyone playing Far Cry 2, if you're not filling up your third slot, your special slot, with the dart gun, you're playing it wrong and making it so much harder on yourself. Very quickly, before we get to our number 1 spot, we got 2 honorable mentions here. The first one being the Uzi. The Uzi pretty much does everything the starter game assault rifles do, except you can use it as a sidearm. So if you're using like the Milcore, for example, instead of the M16 in your normal primary slot, you might want to fill your secondary slot with the Uzi, as the damage is incredible. It's great at close range, the recoil is relatively controllable. It's, again, like the AK or the FAL, except you can carry it as a sidearm. It's a pocket FAL and AK. What more can I say? If there was a top 10 list that I was doing that I felt like we needed to make a top 10 list, you could bet your ass this would be number 6. I also gotta bring up the saw. While I personally don't use this LMG when I'm playing, I can't deny its destructive power. If you plant yourself in a good position over a base and you fire this thing in bursts, it has enough damage to take out all the enemies in there, and the ammo capacity to do so too, because the enemies can get a little bullet spongy. So while like assault rifles might not be the best fit, because you have that huge box magazine on this saw, it's perfect for Far Cry 2's combat, as up close you can kind of, well, you can't really spam it because the recoil is too uncontrollable, hence why it's not in the top 5, but it's still a good contender. If you want to throw something else in your special slot and you need something that's really combat competent, this is probably the gun to go with. After I gushed over the dart gun so much, you knew number 1 was going to be a sniper. Now, while the Springfield and the 50 BMG are also excellent weapons, there's not that much of a damage difference between any of the snipers in this game to use one over the other based on damage. So because of that, the SVD is the number 1 weapon in this game because it offers you all the advantages of a sniper with that one-shot kill capability. However, you get the most amount of ammo. 10 rounds per magazine, and I think you can carry 2 to 3 mags. Anyways, that's more than enough to take out an entire outpost. It's more than enough to take out guys in vehicles from far away. It's more than enough to do all the assassination missions the game gives you without putting yourself in any real danger. And if you complement this thing with the M79 and then the dart gun, you have like your stealth capabilities, you have explosives for if vehicles try to charge you. But generally with the SVD, you won't really have to worry about any of that because you're far away enough where the enemy's gonna have a hard time trying to find you. Also, because of the semi-automatic nature of this gun, you can get your kills pretty quickly, so you can literally clear a mission and or outpost before the enemy really even has time to react. And it's because of all of these reasons that the SVD is easily the best weapon. It has the advantages of the M16 in the sense that you control the distance. It has the damage that isn't necessarily as explosive as the Milcore, but gives you as much control of your damage as the Milcore and allows you to do damage as fast as it. And then if you complement this with either like an Uzi, an M79, and the dart gun, you're good for stealth, you're good for pretty much everything. And I honestly think it's a little ironic because the SVD is usually shit on in pretty much every game, whether it's Far Cry 3 and 4 or Call of Duty. I think the only other game I can think of that gives the SVD any love would be Metal Gear Solids 3, 4, and 5, and then this game here. So yeah, the SVD, the surprise winner, the meme gun actually shines for once. So anyways guys, what did you think? Do you think there's some guns I missed out on that should have been in a top 5? Do you think Far Cry 2 is worthy of getting a top 10 list? am I wrong about certain picks that I have? Like, just let me know down in the comments below. Honestly, Far Cry 2 gets talked about a lot, but I don't think enough attention is given to the guns. Anyways, this has been Pliskin, over and out.